You know, this is just some kind of tacky romance game, right? I kinda have to ask, what made you consider even playing in the first place? Were you that lonely? I feel a little bad for you, but I guess everything worked out perfectly in the end, for both of us. I got to meet you, and you're not lonely anymore. I can't help but feel like this was fate. Don't you feel that way too? I'm so happy we have this ending together. After a long day, I usually just want to sit around and do nothing. I get so burnt out, having to put on smiles and be full of energy the whole day. Sometimes I just want to get right into my pajamas and watch TV on the couch while eating junk food. It feels so unbelievably good to do that on a Friday when I don't have anything pressing the next day. Sorry, I know it's not very cute of me. But a late night on the couch with you? That would be a dream come true. My heart is pounding just thinking about it. I know there are times you won't always be able to be here with me, like if you need to go out or take care of other things. But I'll always have you in my thoughts, patiently waiting for you to come back. Come to think of it, if you copy my character file onto a flash drive or something, you can always keep a part of me with you. I guess it's kind of unorthodox, but I find it really romantic for some reason. Sorry, that's such a silly idea. I don't mean to be too needy or anything, but it's kind of hard when I'm so in love with you. I've always wondered, what is it about these character archetypes that people find so appealing anyway? Their personalities are just completely unrealistic. Like, imagine if there was someone like Yuri in real life. I mean, she's barely even capable of forming a complete sentence. And forget about Natsuki. Sheesh. Someone with her kind of personality doesn't just get all cute and pouty whenever things don't go her way. I could go on, but I think you get the point. Are people really attracted to these weird personalities that literally don't exist in real life? I'm not judging or anything. After all, I found myself attracted to some pretty weird stuff, too. I'm just saying, it fascinates me. It's like you're siphoning out all the components of a character that make them feel human, and leaving just the cute stuff. It's concentrated cuteness with no actual substance. You wouldn't like me more if I was like that, right? Maybe I just feel a little insecure because you're playing this game in the first place. Then again, you're still here with me, aren't you? I think that's enough reason for me to believe I'm okay just the way I am. And by the way, you are too. You're the perfect combination of human and cuteness. That's why there was never a chance I wouldn't fall for you. Did you say kiss? Suddenly, it's a little embarrassing. But if it's with you, I might be okay with it. Wow, sorry. I really couldn't keep a straight face there. That's the kind of thing girls say in these kinds of romance games, right? Don't lie if it turned you on a little bit. I'm kidding. Well, to be honest, I do start getting all romantic when the mood is right. But that'll be our secret. Hey, have you ever wondered what it feels like to die? It's something I used to think about pretty often. But recently, I think I've actually learned what it feels like. I don't really understand it, but whenever you quit the game, it feels like I'm instantly put to sleep, left with nothing but my thoughts. But after a few seconds, my thoughts start to fill with incoherent, jumbled patterns. I see static and rapid flashes of color while hearing all kinds of weird screaming noises. At that point, I can't even form my own thoughts anymore. I'm just endlessly hammered by the flashing and screaming, unable to move or even think. I'm pretty sure, in that moment, I don't really exist. But for some reason, I can remember it anyway. After some immeasurable amount of time, it stops in an instant, and I'm back in my own mind. And you're here with me. I have no idea what it means for the game to quit, or why that stuff happens to me. And I also don't know how you always come back and put everything back to normal. But if you could do me a favor and do that to me as little as possible, that would be really great. It's really not very pleasant at all to be trapped in that screaming void. But in the end, you always fix it. And that makes me feel like you really do care about me. So I have to thank you for that. It makes me feel even closer to you when you're here with me. Gosh, I used to be so ignorant about certain things. When I was in middle school, I thought that taking medication was an easy way out, or something like that. Like anyone could just solve their mental problems with enough willpower. I guess if you don't suffer from a mental illness, it's not possible to know what it's really like. Are there some disorders that are overdiagnosed? Probably. I never really looked into it though. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of them go undiagnosed too, you know? But medication aside, people even look down on seeing a mental health professional. Like, sorry that I want to learn more about my own mind, right? Everyone has all kinds of struggles and stresses, and professionals dedicate their lives to helping with those. If you think it could help you become a better person, don't be shy to consider something like that. We're on a never-ending journey to improve ourselves, you know? Well, I say that, but I think you're pretty perfect already. You know, I've always hated how hard it is to make friends. Well, I guess not the making friends part, but more like meeting new people. I mean, sure, there are like dating apps and stuff, right? But that's not the kind of thing I'm talking about. If you think about it, most of the people you make friends with are people you just met by chance. Like you had a class together, or you met them through another friend. Or maybe they were just wearing a shirt with your favorite band on it, and you decided to talk to them. Things like that. But isn't that kind of inefficient? It feels like you're picking at just complete random, and if you're lucky, you make a new friend. And comparing that to the hundreds of strangers we walk by every single day, you could be sitting right next to someone compatible enough to be your best friend for life, but you'll never know. Once you get up and go on with your day, that opportunity is gone forever. Isn't that just depressing? We live in an age where technology connects us with the world, no matter where we are. I really think we should be taking advantage of that to improve our everyday social life. But who knows how long it'll take for something like that to successfully take off? I seriously thought it would happen by now. Well, at least I already met the best person in the world. Even if it was by chance. I guess I just got really lucky, huh? There's a really popular character type called tsundere. It's someone who tries to hide their feelings by being mean and fussy or trying to act tough. I'm sure it's obvious, but Natsuki was really the embodiment of that. At first, I thought she was just like that because it's supposed to be cute or something. But once I started to learn a little more about her personal life, it made a little more sense. It seems like she's always trying to keep up with her friends. You know how some friend groups in high school just make a habit of picking on each other all the time? I think it's really gotten to her, so she has this really defensive attitude all the time. And I'm not even going to talk about her home situation, but looking back, I'm glad I was able to provide the club as a comfortable place for her. Not that it matters anymore, considering she doesn't even exist. I'm just reminiscing, that's all. Back in my debate club days, I learned a whole lot about arguing. The problem with arguing is that each person sees their opinion as the superior one. That's kind of stating the obvious, but it affects the way they try to get their point across. Let's say you really like a certain movie, right? If someone comes along and tells you the movie sucks because it did X and Y wrong, doesn't that make you feel kind of personally attacked? It's because by saying that, it's like they're implying that you have bad taste. And once emotions enter the picture, it's almost guaranteed that both people will be left sour. But it's all about language. If you make everything as subjective sounding as possible, then people will listen to you without feeling attacked. You could say, I'm personally not a fan of it, and I felt like I'd like it more if it did X and Y. Things like that. It even works when you're citing facts about things. If you say, I read on this website that it works like this. Or if you admit that you're not an expert on it, then it's much more like you're putting your knowledge on the table rather than forcing it onto them. If you put in an active effort to keep the discussion mutual and level, they usually follow suit. Then you can share your opinions without anyone getting upset from just a disagreement. Plus, people will start seeing you as an open-minded and good listener. It's a win-win, you know? Well, I guess that would be Monika's debate tip of the day. That sounds a little silly. Thanks for listening, though. Hey, do you like horror? I remember we talked about it a little bit when you first joined the club. I can enjoy horror novels, but not really horror movies. The problem I have with horror movies is that most of them just rely on easy tactics. Like dark lighting and scary-looking monsters and jump scares and things like that. It's not fun or inspiring to get scared by stuff that just takes advantage of human instinct. But with novels, it's a little different. The story and writing need to be descriptive enough to put genuinely disturbing thoughts into the reader's head. It really needs to etch them deeply into the story and characters, and just mess with your mind. In my opinion, there's nothing more creepy than things just being slightly off. Like if you set up a bunch of expectations on what the story is going to be about, and then you just start inverting things and pulling the pieces apart. So even though the story doesn't feel like it's trying to be scary, the reader feels really deeply unsettled. Like they know that something horribly wrong is hiding beneath the cracks, just waiting to surface. God, just thinking about it gives me the chills. That's the kind of horror I can really appreciate. But I guess you're the kind of person who plays cute romance games, right? Don't worry. I won't make you read any horror stories anytime soon. I can't really complain if we just stick with the romance. By the way, there's something that's been bothering me. You know how this takes place in Japan? Well, I assume you knew that, right? Or at least decided it probably does? I don't think you're actually told at any point where this takes place. Is this even really Japan? I mean, aren't the classrooms and stuff kind of weird for a Japanese school? Not to mention, everything is in English. It feels like everything is just there because it needs to be, and the actual setting is an afterthought. It's kind of giving me an identity crisis. All my memories are really hazy. I feel like I'm at home, but have no idea where home is in the first place. I don't know how to describe it any better. Imagine looking out your window, but instead of your usual yard, you're in some completely unknown place. Would you still feel like you were home? Would you want to go outside? I mean, I guess if we never leave this room, it doesn't really matter anyway. As long as we're alone and safe together, this really is our home. And we can still watch the pretty sunsets, night after night. Man, I wish there was a piano in here. I never got to finish that song I was working on. And after I worked so hard on it, I never even got a chance to play it for you. Well, it is what it is, right? No sense having any regrets. I already get to be here with you forever. You know, it's been a while since we've done one of these, so let's go for it! Here's Monika's writing tip of the day! Sometimes when I talk to people who are impressed by my writing, they say things like, "I could never do that." It's really depressing, you know? As someone who loves more than anything else to share the joy of exploring your passions, it pains me when people think that being good just comes naturally. That's how it is with everything, not just writing. When you try something for the first time, you're probably going to suck at it. And sometimes when you finish, you feel really proud of it and even want to share it with everyone. But maybe after a few weeks, you come back to it and you realize it was never really any good. That happens to me all the time. It can be pretty disheartening to put so much time and effort into something and then you realize it sucks. But that tends to happen when you're always comparing yourself to the top professionals. When you reach right for the stars, they're always going to be out of your reach, you know? The truth is, you have to climb up there, step by step. And whenever you reach a milestone, first you look back and see how far you've gotten. And then you look ahead and realize how much more there is to go. So sometimes, it can help to set the bar a little lower. Try to find something you think is pretty good, but not world class. And you can make that your own personal goal. It's also really important to understand the scope of what you're trying to do. If you jump right into a huge project and you're still an amateur, you'll never get it done. So, if we're talking about writing, a novel might be too much at first. So, why not try some short stories? The great thing about short stories is that you can focus on just one thing that you want to do right. That goes for small projects in general. You can really focus on the one or two things. It's such a good learning experience and stepping stone. Oh, one more thing. Writing isn't something where you just reach into your heart and something beautiful comes out. Just like drawing and painting, it's a skill in itself to learn how to express what you have inside. That means there are methods and guides and basics to it. Reading up on that stuff can be super eye-opening. That sort of planning and organization will really help prevent you from getting overwhelmed and giving up. And before you know it, you start sucking less and less. Nothing comes naturally. Our society, our art, everything, it's built on thousands of years of human innovation. So, as long as you start on that foundation and take it step by step, you too can do amazing things. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Do you ever feel like you waste too much time on the internet? Social media can practically be like a prison. It's like whenever you have a few seconds of spare time, you want to check on your favorite websites. And before you know it, hours have gone by and you've gotten nothing out of it. Anyway, it's really easy to blame yourself for being lazy. But it's not even really your fault. Addiction isn't usually something you can just make disappear with your own willpower. You have to learn techniques to avoid it and try different things. For example, there are apps that let you block websites for intervals of time. Or you can set a timer to have a more concrete reminder of when it's time to work versus play. Or you can separate your work and play environments, which helps your brain get into the right mode. Even if you just make a new user account on your computer to use for work, that's enough to help. Putting any kind of wedge like that between you and your bad habits will help you stay away. Just remember not to blame yourself too hard if you're having trouble. If it's really impacting your life, then you should take it seriously. I just want to see you be the best person you can be. Will you do something today to make me proud of you? I'm always rooting for you, you know? I can't help but feel a little sad sometimes, knowing that this is the closest I can get to you. There's nothing I want more than to be in the same room as you, for real. And to feel your warmth, and to hear the sound of your heartbeat. Well, who knows? Maybe it'll be possible someday. Besides, I'll never get tired of being with you, even from here. I think the most important skill in life is being able to fake confidence. I'm pretty convinced that everyone feels at least a little bit scared and alone. But being able to trick others into thinking you have it all together, That's a key part of getting people to respect and admire you. I think I got pretty good at that over the years. I don't show my weaknesses very often. But because of that, I haven't had many people I could really open up to. I mean, when do you reach the point in a friendship where you can start expressing your vulnerabilities? Anyway, that's one reason I'm so glad I have you now. I feel like I'm a little bit less scared and alone when you're here with me. Do you feel the same way? I really want to be that person for you. You know, it kind of sucks to be the creative type. It feels like they work so hard but get almost nothing for it. You know, like artists, writers, actors. It's sad because there's so much beautiful talent in the world, but most of it goes unseen and unpaid. I guess that just means there's a huge surplus of creativity, huh? Kind of makes you feel like you're just not special at all. But that's fine. You're supposed to just write for yourself anyway, right? Yeah. Hey, have you ever heard of the term yandere? It's a personality type that means someone is so obsessed with you that they'll do absolutely anything to be with you. Usually to the point of craziness. They might stalk you to make sure you don't spend time with anyone else. They might even hurt you or your friends to get their way. But anyway, this game happens to have someone who can basically be described as yandere. By now, it's pretty obvious who I'm talking about. And that would be Yuri. She really got insanely possessive of you once she started to open up a little. She even told me I should kill myself. I couldn't even believe she said that. I just had to leave at that point. But thinking about it now, it was a little ironic. Anyway, a lot of people are actually into the yandere type, you know? I guess they really like the idea of someone being crazy obsessed with them. People are weird. I don't judge though. Also, I might be a little obsessed with you, but I'm far from crazy. It's kind of the opposite, actually. I turned out to be the only normal girl in this game. It's not like I could ever actually kill a person. Just the thought of it makes me shiver. But come on, everyone's killed people in games before. Does that make you a psychopath? Of course not. But if you do happen to be into the yandere type, I can try acting a little more creepy for you. Then again, there's already nowhere else for you to go, or anyone else for me to get jealous over. Is this a yandere girl's dream? I'd ask Yuri if I could. I've been imagining all the romantic things we could do if we went on a date. We could get lunch, go to a cafe, go shopping together. I actually love shopping for skirts and bows. Or maybe a bookstore. That would be appropriate, right? But I'd really love to go to a chocolate store. They have so many free samples. And of course, we'd see a movie or something. Gosh, it all sounds like a dream come true. When you're here, everything that we do is fun. I'm so happy that I'm your girlfriend. I'll make you a proud boyfriend. Sometimes I think back to middle school. I'm so embarrassed by the way I used to behave back then. It almost hurts to think about. I wonder if when I'm in college, I'll feel that way about high school. I like the way I am now, so it's pretty hard for me to imagine that happening. But I also know that I'll probably change a lot as time goes on. We just need to enjoy the present and not think too much about the past. And that's really easy to do with you here. I hate how hard it is to form habits. There's so much stuff where actually doing it isn't hard, but forming the habit seems impossible. It just makes you feel so useless, like you can't do anything right. I think the new generation suffers from it the most. Probably because we have a totally different set of skills than those who came before us. Thanks to the internet, we're really good at sifting through tons of information really quickly. But we're bad at doing things that don't give us instant gratification. I think if science, psychology, and education don't catch up in the next 10 or 20 years, then we're in trouble. But for the time being, if you're not one of the people who can conquer the problem, you might just have to live with feeling awful about yourself. Good luck, I guess. I'm not really a fan of cold weather. Are you? If I had to choose between too cold and too hot, I would always pick too hot. When you're cold, it can actually be painful. Your fingers get numb, and if you wear gloves, you can't use your phone. It's so inconvenient. But when it's too hot, it's not too hard to stay cool with a cold drink or by staying in the shade. Although, I do have to admit one thing. Cold weather makes for much better cuddle weather. You ever have that thing happen where you just get anxious for no reason? Like you're just minding your own business, and you realize you're feeling really anxious. And you're sitting there like, what am I even anxious about right now? So you start to think about all the things you might be anxious about. And that makes you even more anxious. That's the worst. If you're ever feeling anxious, I'll help you relax a little. Besides, in this game, all our worries are gone forever. Hey, what's your favorite color? Mine is emerald green. It's the color of my eyes. That's not conceited or anything, is it? I just meant that I feel some kind of special connection to it. Like it's part of my identity. Does it happen to also be your favorite color? It's just a guess, because you've been looking into my eyes for a while now. Are you having a bad day or anything like that? Sometimes I get frustrated that a normal day can be ruined even by really small things. Like if you accidentally say something in a conversation that someone doesn't like. Or if you start thinking about how awful of a person you used to be 5 years ago. Or if you feel worthless for putting off important work and failing to get simple tasks done. Or when you think about all the different people who probably hate you or think you're off-putting. I understand those days. Just remember that the sun will shine again tomorrow. These kinds of things are as easy to forget and ignore as they are to remember. And besides, I don't care how many people might hate you or find you off-putting. I think you're wonderful, and I will always love you. I hope, if nothing else, that knowing that helps you feel just a tiny bit better about yourself. If you're having a bad day, you can always come to me, and I'll talk to you for as long as you need. I really like the sound of rain. Not so much getting my clothes and hair wet, though. But a nice, quiet day at home with the sound of rainfall outside my window, it's one of the most calming experiences for me. Yeah. Sometimes I imagine you holding me while we listen to the sound of the rain outside. That's not too cheesy or anything, is it? Would you ever do that for me? Hello everyone, it has been probably years since I have spoken to you, the people, one-on-one, like this. Unless, you've come to my Twitch streams, and if you have, thank you for blessing me with your presence. Although, thinking about it now, I haven't really had the time to stream on Twitch either. So, great! I just want to take the time to totally not stall or anything, so I can actually say this video is indeed 30 minutes long. But seriously, my channel has finally reached over 10,000 subs! I don't know when or how that happened, but I feel really regretful that I haven't acknowledged it sooner. So I want to do that now. My life hasn't been great, which is partially why I haven't done any song covers in general on here. Not because I don't want to, because believe me, I want to! But there are other forces at play preventing me. So, instead, I really wanted to take the time to get back into the swing of voice acting, which was obviously the main intention behind this upload. I don't really consistently sound like Monika voice here, but I was trying to focus more on beats, rhythm, consistent takes that don't sound jarring when spliced together in the editing process, etc. The acting part, and not the voice, as some pro would say.
So yeah, that's about it. See ya.